Carmen Majinski tossed 5 innings of one-run ball, and Thomas Harrington rode the Pirates' offensive attack to his first save in the majors, tossing the last 4 innings to cap the win. Let's talk about a good start to this crucial NL Central week of action next on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Pirates your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins, which is going to happen all the time because you guys are smart. So tonight's game, and I'm in a great mood, so of course I think that, right? Let's see. The Pirates win big here, 8-4. It really didn't even feel that close because those were some late inning runs from the Cardinals here. But let's talk about what really happened in this game that's kind of crucial. When you start a game with Carmen Majinski, and this is nothing against him, but this is his second major league start, okay? He's done it before, but he's done it like as an opener, and I'm not sure if those count as much as, you're trying to see how far you can get into a game. You don't expect to get 5 innings of one-run ball out of Carmen Majinski. You just don't. You hope for it, but that's not a plan to hope, right? So this was always going to be a questionable part of this series, the way that we started it with Carmen Majinski. We talked on yesterday's episode a little bit about what we thought they might do with Carmen Majinski and Thomas Harrington still being on the roster. I suggested it could be some kind of piggyback. That's what it turned out to be. A weird kind of piggyback, right? A kind of piggyback you probably won't see again for quite some time. Carmen Majinski goes through the 5 innings. He was puttering towards the end, okay? I mean, the pitch count was up there, but he was pretty masterful. Really, the pitch that he brought today or last night that really kind of just felt different from Carmen Majinski was the backdoor slider where he was just pinning the outside corner against lefties. It was a weapon. I mean, they didn't know what to do against it. There's really only one way you can do anything against it. You have to take an opposite field approach, and at that, it's going to be a hard one to get a hit on. It's going to be a slicing double down the line, or you're going to foul it off or miss it altogether. And it's something you have to make a last-minute judgment on as to whether you want to swing at it or not. Combine that with some of his splitter and his fastball tonight was up to 96. I saw him hit 97 once. Really placing it for the most part. There were a few overthrow incidents, I think, when he was really trying to reach back for some extra miles per hour, got himself in a little bit of trouble and got wild. But for the most part, what an encouraging outing by Carmen Majinski. It kind of makes this 5th spot in the rotation at least feel like something we're going to see a little bit more of, and maybe I don't hate it, right? But then they wound up using Thomas Harrington on the back end of that piggyback. Now, the plan is, you don't want to say this, but the plan is when you do the piggyback thing that Carmen Majinski is going to come in. He's going to give you 3.5, 4 innings, somewhere in there. And then you're going to bring in Thomas Harrington. He's going to give you 3 2/3, maybe 4 if he's really feeling it, or if the game's out of hand and you just need innings out of him. And that's how you keep him stretched out. You keep Carmen continuing to stretch out. And then you hand it over to the bullpen. If you're in charge, okay, great. You try to win with whatever we're deeming our back end right now. And if you're behind, okay, well, you fall back on somebody else that has been struggling a little bit, or really somebody who hasn't worked as much recently. There aren't a lot of them. This bullpen's been kind of taxed. So Thomas Harrington comes in, starts pitching, got into a little bit of trouble, gave up a dinger, couple dingers, 3 earned runs. The only reason he really got this opportunity for this 4-inning save, which there hasn't been a Pittsburgh one of these since Kent Tekulve back in 1975, which, wow, right? Anytime you're doing something that hasn't been done since 75, I mean, come to think of it, it's been almost that long since the Pirates won a World Series. So maybe it's not so special there, Tommy. Regardless, Harrington goes 4 innings pitched. The only reason he got the opportunity to go those 4 innings, though, was because the Pirates offense showed up. I got 5.5 minutes into talking about how this baseball team pulled off a victory, and all I've talked about so far are the 2 pitchers that did it. Remarkable in and of itself. Great. Wonderful. A blessing. It's a bonus win, if you ask me. One you don't expect for, to plan on. You don't think that this is the kind of performance you're going to get. But the hitters showed up tonight. And oddly enough, on a night where they're resting Brian Reynolds. And why are they resting Brian Reynolds? Because they were facing lefty Matt Liberatore, who the Pirates enjoy hitting against on occasion, although he has shut them down here and there. So they stacked their lineup with righties and switch hitters. And for the most part, they got really good results. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa continues to hit. He's got some problems in the field. We will definitely talk about those as we move through this show. But at least at the plate, he's doing what he was supposed to do. He's getting on base. He's moving the ball forward. Andy Rodriguez showed up tonight. That was great to see. There was a weight lifted off that kid's shoulders. You could almost feel it tonight when you saw him. After he got that hit, there was just like this relaxation that came over him. He really kind of started playing a different kind of game altogether, being a little bit more himself. Honestly, the jovial kid that we've come to know watching him play the game. Brian Hayes continues to hit and get on base and make things happen. And in general, be somebody that you don't necessarily want to face in the lineup. They don't have an awful lot of those all the time, but Brian Hayes has been getting on base and doing the job. Exactly what we need from him. The leadoff role is suiting him right now. I'm so happy he drew a walk tonight. It's one of the things I pointed out that I really thought he needed to work on if he's going to stay up at leadoff. But this is what he is. He's a singles and doubles hitter who's going to, on occasion, turn on one or, really get into one the other way. That's a leadoff hitter. If he can steal a few bags and stay healthy, this is great. Andrew McCutchen, the ageless wonder, DH tonight. A couple of hits. Man, he popped up his first 2, but he didn't miss them by much. And then when he really got into him, Andrew McCutchen came through in a big moment to drive through a couple big runs. Joey Bart finally on the extra base hit sheet with a home run and a triple. Yeah, a triple for Joey Bart. He was motoring around the bag. And in fact, it looked like for a second there, because Kutch went back to second to tag, it almost looked like Joey Bart was going to catch up to him. That dude was head down, chugging. It was off the top of the wall. They actually had a quick video review because it actually hit off a fan's glove. There was no way that the outfielder was going to make the catch, but a smart manager challenges that because why not? All in all, pretty positive stuff. Offense showed up tonight. 8 runs is good. Wind was blowing out at PNC, and the pitching didn't allow the Cardinals to take full advantage of it. They did tee off on Thomas Harrington a little bit. I have a feeling he's potentially just pitched his last game up here before a demotion. They'll probably have to wait for that 15-day mark to option him. But to option somebody else up. Not sure exactly when that is, but that's probably what they're waiting for. Best case scenario, though, man. They both pitched long tonight. That's exactly what you want to play out. I don't think that Derek Shelton could have dreamed up a better scenario for how the pitching actually took place tonight. Good start. Want to take a quick break? And then we're going to come back and we are going to talk about Tsung-Che Cheng getting called up, the implications of all of that, and what it kind of does to the team and what it says about some of the other players. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, and even who's cutting down the nets. With tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. You never know who's going to win. Look how close Bobby Moe came the other night. I mean, if that didn't get you excited, I don't know what will. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. Drop me a like. Give me some comments underneath. A lot of great ones after yesterday's episode. Really enjoyed reading through those. Tsung-Che Cheng promoted to Major League Baseball. This comes as at least a bit of a surprise. It's a direct result of Jared Triolo heading to the IL with lower back issues. And boy, they pinpointed it when they diagnosed it. I don't want to mispronounce all the medically words, but it sounds like they pinpointed exactly what's injured on him. Something with his spine, actually. So lumbar or something. Not great. It wouldn't matter if I could pronounce it anyway. I couldn't predict how long he's going to be out. And I would also imagine hitting like 0.75. Most of you probably don't care how long he's out. But it is an important functional part of a baseball team to have a good glove, man, that can kind of play and bounce around. So the Pirates called up who? Tsung-Che Cheng. Tsung-Che Cheng. Now, if you watch spring training at all this year, really interesting kid. He's had a heck of a journey. He really has. Tremendous spring training. It means exactly that, though. Nothing more. Spring training is spring training. I can't really call any kind of information out of anything anyone has done at Indianapolis because they haven't played a lot. The weather has been raining them out constantly. In fact, I wanted to kind of start doing a little bit of a midweek minor league thing, but I chose not to start it last week or this week because, well, the minors haven't really played. I'd like to actually have some stats to talk about, I mean, so, and the Pirates have called up so many of their top prospects already, or they've had a couple of them go on the IL. It's like, I don't even really want to like touch that quite this second. So we'll probably wait here another week or so before we start that. He'll get an opportunity to play, but most likely it's going to be to spell Brian Hayes or fill in for Adam Frazier or IKF here and there. He brings a lot of the elements offensively that we've kind of prayed Ji-Hwan Bae might, with more power potential. It's the very beginning of his journey. I think he's probably here a little early. I'm surprised they went this way as opposed to Liover Peguero, who already has some major league time under his belt. And you figure you're on decision year for Liover Peguero. So, I mean, it speaks to how they feel about each of those players right now, I guess. But in many ways, for Peguero, you have to ask, if not now, with York, Gonzalez, Triolo, all on the IL, well, when? Are you ever going to think that Peguero has earned a chance? I don't know. I'm not saying that he's hit his way onto the team. Again, I can't tell you anything from AAA right now. They simply haven't played enough to have anything that has happened down there matter. You could call him back up if only because he's got a little bit of major league experience. I understand being interested in Cheng. I've been following him a long time. No matter what the kid is, he's either the Pirates' 17th or 19th ranked prospect, depending on who you look at. He's fast. He's a solid defender. He has offensive potential. I've never seen him play the way he did in spring training, and I've been watching him a long time. Like maybe his time in Greensboro was close, but he really stalled out in Altoona. The narrative from the team on that has been that, they challenged him to hit for a little bit more power in Altoona, and it potentially kind of turned into a little bit too much of a thing for him. So he was having a hard time not trying to hit home runs and kind of lost himself in it a little bit. He is more of a slap hitter. He does have power. He just needs to let it come naturally to him. It's a problem, honestly, that we saw with Ji-hwan Bae, especially at the major league level. In the minors, Ji-hwan Bae seems to understand what he should and shouldn't do. He is a slap hitter there. He does hit doubles. He does run around, scoot around the bases. He does steal a lot of bases. Catchers aren't as good. Pitchers don't have pickoff moves. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. AAA is a different sport. It really is. It's a different game the way it is. So when you look at somebody like Tsung-Che Cheng, I mean, he got a lot of those skill sets, and I don't think anybody, even the most ardent Ji-hwan Bae haters, can sit here and deny that that's the skill set this team needs if it's not going to be power. They need to go all in on the speed, and a guy like Cheng is really a guy that can bring that. I'm very, very interested to see what he can do. The other thing I think they could do with this configuration here, if they want to, because Cheng is really the first shortstop that they've had on the team that I think you can definitively say is a good shortstop. He can get to the balls. He's got the arm. He's probably got more range than anybody that they've had here in a minute. I mean, you can count O'Neal Cruz, but O'Neal Cruz had that wingspan. So without the wingspan, Cheng's range is at least comparable to O'Neal Cruz. He really could improve your up the middle defense big time. I know he's going to have to fill in for Brian Hayes. That's part of why he's here, is the third base capability that they tried to cultivate this year in spring with him. But if he were to need to get into a game just because you want to rest somebody like an Adam Frazier or whatever, I would suggest you move Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to second and put Cheng at short. I think that configuration might work a lot more often. I actually think if Cheng is hitting, there will be a little bit more of a push to do something along those lines, because like I said, IKF is hitting too. So if you can get two bats that are hitting in the lineup and improve the defense, you'd be a fool not to do it. Cheng's got to hit first. This is me living in dream world. So, but we got to get there first. But I think that's a direction that they could potentially head with this. Again, I am curious though that why it was him. I think they would probably be better off with another righty. So I mean, there's a lot of reasons that I could have made where Peguero would have made a lot more sense here. But they did what they did. They definitely needed somebody that could play shortstop. Again, he's the best option if you're just plainly talking about that. Unless you wanted to travel back in time, I guess we shouldn't question this too much, guys. I don't want to make this real loud because maybe they'll hear me and change their mind and ruin everything. But they could have probably put Alika Williams back on the 40-man and brought him up because he's disposable and you wouldn't care about DFAing him anyway. So let's just kind of be grateful that they went with Cheng. Okay, let's not complain. So if you were complaining, don't complain. Go ahead and pull that back off the table and be happy about it. Let's take a quick break again. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure that they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. Whether you're recovering after a workout or need an energy boost, their grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout delivery give real results. Visit justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at Just Ingredients on Instagram. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Thanks again for joining me. Skeens and then Keller go on the next two games here against the Cardinals, facing Mr. Sonny Gray first. Pay no attention to the stats behind the man. We know what Sonny Gray is. It doesn't matter how he started. We know how good he is. And Eric Fetty is no slouch either. We've seen him pitch well as well. So it doesn't matter how they've started in the early going here. Those are two quality pitchers. And the Cardinals with Liberatore tonight or last night, probably that was their game where they expected to not challenge as much. So you love that those two types go against each other tomorrow. Paul Skeens, or tonight, I mean. Sorry, I get confused about that sometimes. Tonight, Paul Skeens goes with Sonny Gray. That's the premier matchup of this series. But this win last night with Carmen Mlodzinski and Thomas Harrington doing what they did kind of opens the door for the Pirates to do something important this week, facing the Reds and the Cardinals. This Mlodzinski and Harrington win sets them up for Skeens and Keller to put the hammer down on the Cardinals here in this division and at least create more company at the bottom. The Cardinals are floating around the middle right now. This would drag them down to the bottom with the Reds and the Pirates. And when you start getting enough people at the bottom, you can start stepping on them. That's what has to happen. And the first way that you climb out of the hole that you've dug in an early season is to start winning series. This is the first one. You're not going to get a better shot than when you have Paul Skeens going, and I don't care who the Cardinals are throwing. You got to find a way to crack through and get a couple runs, and Paul Skeens might be able to get you to the promised land. That's got to be the formula for this team. Win this series. Don't wait till game 3. Take game 2. You're going to have an opportunity with Mitch Keller going in the third game, and I'm really hoping that he's going for a series sweep. Something the Pirates did not do last season very well was finish out series. They did not sweep teams. They weren't swept either a lot because they just seemed to win every other day. You got to get on some kind of a roll to ever do anything in Major League Baseball. Streaks cannot only be one directional. You've got to do something. I've already had a 4-game losing streak. Let's not go that deep into April before we get a 4-game winning streak. You've got to right the ship. That could very well wind up being Mitch Keller's job. We will talk a lot about Mitch Keller on tomorrow's episode before he starts. But Mitch can't be a question for this team. If Mitch Keller is a question, this team's in trouble. His first outing, he went 6 innings, 1 earned run. And then the Yankees, 3.2 with 7 earned runs. Yes, the Yankees are hot. Yes, the Yankees are good. Yes, the Yankees are gods with pinstripes. Totally get all that. But Mitch Keller is supposed to be the veteran leader of this staff. Mitch Keller can't go out and lay a clunker against the Yankees. Pitching is supposed to be the great equalizer of the game. It's supposed to be what makes it possible for everyone to win. You get a good pitching staff, Well, the rest of it will support that pitching staff. That's the hope. For teams that can't buy their way into it, when you get the pitching you're supposed to get, that pitching needs to deliver. Mitch Keller needs to deliver this year. The Jared Jones injury takes him out of a cushy spot where he was in. And I just have to be real. Mitch, he gave up being the ace awful easy, didn't he? Now, Paul Skeens is a special player. That's like me saying, man, did Bugsy Malone ever give up being the face of the franchise to Sidney Crosby without effort? You know what I mean? Of course you move aside for somebody like that. He's getting the attention he's getting. But, Mitch Keller probably should be making a little bit more of a push to be at least the unquestioned number 2. I don't think that's where a lot of people had him going into this season. I think a lot of people had him behind Jared Jones. And I think in some ways, he was probably okay with that. I don't want Mitch to be okay with that. I want Mitch to push himself. I want Mitch to lead this staff. Paul Skeens has a lot to deal with already. He really does. He's the face of this franchise, whether he wants to be or not. I can't imagine anybody wants to be. And then again, I see Andrew McCutchen still here, definitely wanting to be. David Bednar would probably kill to be as well. But Paul Skeens is the face of this franchise right now. Well, Mitch Keller needs to be the backbone of this starting rotation. It's fine for the lefties to do what they did. It's great to get a performance like you did out of Carmen Mlodzinski. But Mitch Keller needs to be somebody that consistently gives you a good amount of innings, doesn't kill your bullpen, keeps you relatively within striking distance. He doesn't have to be perfect. He just needs to be a guy that throws 180 to 200 innings with an ERA around 4, preferably slightly under. And Mitch Keller is more than a bargain for this team. More than a bargain. He'll be making $20 million in 2028, and it will be felt as a bargain if he has done exactly what I just said for 3 seasons. And the Pirates will be doing something pretty awesome in 2028 if he's still here, because I don't think that they'll be happy to pay that $20 million if he hasn't competed and this team hasn't gotten where it needs to get. This needs to be a playoff team if Mitch Keller's to see the end of that contract, if you ask me. And by the time he gets to that $20 million, I want it to feel like, I can't believe we got this guy for $20 million. I know it sounds insane, but really look at his stats year after year, just one after the other. They don't change a whole lot. They really don't. The 3 years that he's been good. Don't go all the way back to his rookie season. That's ridiculous. That's not what got him signed. Go to the last couple years. Look at his stats. And then go out and find on Spot Track, even just that dumb contract site. Go out there and just look at some contracts for pitchers that make $15 million. And then take a look at their stats. You'll be amazed the bargain that you have in Mitch Keller already. He could be a good pitcher, but he and Skeens have a chance to really put the hammer down on the Cardinals. While the getting's good, because the Cardinals have been hitting. These are the best 2 pitchers to be coming in right now. Cool those bats off for the Cardinals. And then hopefully you get a limping Cincinnati to finish out the week. And maybe you've got something here. Maybe you've turned things around. This team still won't be perfect. The fan base will still not be happy entirely. We'll still know there's problems. But we'll know that the problems maybe aren't quite as insurmountable, especially if we continue to get contributions from youth like we did today. Carmen Mlodzinski, Thomas Harrington, Andy Rodriguez, all wonderful contributions to this effort. It's what you want to see. These kids have to be what lead this thing out of the darkness. They don't sign the kind of veterans that have that kind of headlamp. That's all there is to it. It was a fun win, though. Let's take it for what it is. Let's hope we get 2 more. Thank you for making Locked On Pirates your first listen today. For your second listen, I would invite you to check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Might even see somebody familiar there.